Three, two, one.
What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, but in person this time, my co-host, Jeff Santo. Today, we're bringing you guys a little bit of an early preview for the Browns-Steelers Monday night primetime matchup, a game with a whole lot of implications for the AFC North and playoff expectations for teams. Jeff, first time we're doing this in person, really got to do a nice little podcast with Logan earlier for our Cavs stuff. Make sure you guys are subscribing, hitting the bell notification, making the likes and comments hit. Jeff, honestly, can't believe it took this long to get in person to do this.
Hey, it's under a year though. Our January 1 is the first year anniversary of the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. So I mean, it only took. Talk about a weird time to start one of these operations.
Right.
But early preview.
Yeah,
we're doing it early. I like doing it early because we could talk about two rosters and then they'll be totally different come Sunday because of this, that, and the other thing. But how annoying is it that we lose and everything goes right? Like Kansas City beats Pittsburgh and Cincinnati beats Baltimore. And now the Bengals have to play Kansas City at home and the Ravens have to play the Rams at home. Those are going to be tough games. And, it's going to be tough for us at Heinz, though. It's not like the Steelers team is a pushover. They're just not, they're like us. They're just not very good.
Right. And it's been probably the frustrating seasons for both Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. It's tough to really go into this game and hope for what Kansas City did to them and hope for a blowout.
I'm not seeing that for us the rest of the year.
Somehow we managed to put up 22 points against Lambeau, against the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau, with Baker Mayfield turning the ball over 4 times. You see Nick Chubb rush for less than 20 attempts and for 100+ yards. Maybe, if Baker Mayfield doesn't throw that many interceptions, we have a better chance of winning that game.
Still had a chance to win the game, which is crazy.
And really what's going to happen here is we're going to have to look back at what we did wrong the first time we played Pittsburgh. And we had them at home. We held them to, I believe, 16 points. We scored 10.
What week was that?
Man, it was early on. I want to say week 7. But it's just a game that was, another game where our defense holds the team to 20 or less points and we lose. And it's just something that you would have never expected if you had told us last year that our defense had held a team to 20 points, that we were going to lose that game. It's just a heartbreaking situation that we've been in all year long, where it's been, we talk about it since week 4, there hasn't been any momentum for us winning. We win a game, we lose a game. We win a game, we lose a game. And then we lose 2 back-to-back games this year, something that Kevin Stefanski hasn't done till this year. So just honestly been a super frustrating year, but for both franchises, for both teams coming into this Monday night matchup.
Whoever has the crystal ball at the NFL, please contact me, because I can just see this week panning out. Because, of course, for the last game, for the Monday night game, I could see Kansas City winning. And then I could see Baltimore probably having to play a third stringer, maybe Lamar plays just out of desperation. But it's like, either way, I don't know. Like, I think the Rams are going to be favorites in that game. I think Kansas City is going to be a favorite against Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati has played wildly consistent football all year long too.
Right.
I don't understand how we blow the doors off them, but that was cool. The first game with Pittsburgh, which Freiermuth didn't play this week for them. He was a concussion protocol. He killed us, so he might be out. Of course, we have 7 days. It's actually a week from today, so a lot of time for people to get back. I'm looking at key injuries on both sides. I'm thinking between Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, I would really like for Troy Hill to be back for these last 2 games, specifically this last game and the Bengals game too. I mean, good wide receiver cores down the stretch. Not too many mistakes in that game, really. I mean, Baker, no interceptions.
No touchdowns, though.
20 for 31 for 225 yards. Chubb has kind of an off game, 16 carries for 61 yards. Najee Harris torches us in that game, 26 carries for 91 yards and the touchdown. And Big Ben doesn't make any mistakes, 266 yards and a touchdown.
That was a game where they tried to fake the field goal.
Yeah, and then the kicker got it. Boswell got hurt. But it's almost one of those games where, I don't know, it was just so boring. It was 15-10. Really nothing happened besides that fake play. And I just don't know if their offensive line has like regressed, but they just have not been able to. They're playing good teams too, but they just have
Right.
not been able to run the ball. Tennessee, I don't think they ran the ball particularly well yesterday. Najee just couldn't get anything going. They really have to get them going in the pass game, and they made a couple mistakes down the stretch. So that's why it got out of hand quickly there for them last night.
Yeah, and I think back to the first time that we had played them, and it seems like I do this more often than not when we talk about the Browns, when we reflect back on Browns games. For some reason, it always feels like it comes down to the last series on offense for us, where we make a mistake or things just don't go our way, whether it's Baker not throwing the ball well or whatever it may be, people not catching the ball. And I think particularly with that last Steelers game, I could be wrong, but there were 2 balls in the fourth quarter, final drive for us offensively. This is back when we had
they were dropped.
Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. I think the egregious one was
I think Jarvis dropped.
Jarvis one.
Yeah.
And then there was the Odell one where, everything going on with that situation. I kind of want to get away from it, not really talk about it, but a game where I just feel like we should have won that one at home against the Steelers, and it gives you a good sense of feeling. But, coming into this game, we're missing people. Or not this game particularly. We're still technically missing people with people on COVID, Jadeveon, Troy Hill, Greg Newsom's concussion protocol. We're missing some of our better pieces on defense. Miles is still struggling with his groin injury. I don't know that that's ever going to, get 100% if he continues to play and practice.
He's got a full week, but
yeah, and a little bit of extra time since we played Saturday and the game's Monday.
8 days, you're right.
So, a little bit of a nice situation for us there, but I'm trying to think about it logically. Are we missing anyone offensively that didn't play yesterday? Kareem's the only one.
Kareem and our line, but it's like after yesterday, I'm not even interested really in getting, like, it's not a priority to get some of the linemen back. I think Green Bay's run defense was pretty good until that game, and that's one of Chubb's best games on the year. So
yeah.
I think you roll Bitonio left tackle again somehow. And of course, we have all these moving pieces down the stretch when we need to win games, which we've needed to win basically every game these last 2 weeks. But
it feels like we've been saying that for a long, long time, all this season.
It's so annoying. But if Jedrick is healthy, like right tackle this week,
I don't know. When's the
last time he's even practiced?
I was confused. Was Hudson not cleared off a protocol? Why didn't he get the start at right tackle?
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
I have no idea why
Who was starting there? Hands?
Yeah, I think it was.
And
Hands.
who was playing left guard?
Dunn.
Yeah, Michael Dunn's playing left guard.
I have no idea what the
fine, I guess.
Right. That was the best that our offensive line had played.
Looked in a while.
Yeah, in terms of run blocking in a long time. Obviously, I don't understand it because, like you said, Jedrick
Nick
Wills
Harris played center.
Yeah, right. We didn't even talk about Treader. I said that was a great game for Nick Harris. We didn't get
Nick Harris is going to be our center probably next year.
And that's what I said, Jeff. I was talking to my dad and I said, this is his tryout for him replacing JC Treader, because we always talk about, we have a pretty healthy discussion about, contracts and everything, obviously with some of the bigger name guys like Baker and Denzel, but we haven't even talked about JC Treader, who's been on the team for a while now. He hasn't missed a game outside of COVID, and he's been dealing with injuries. He's a great guy. He's the NFLPA president, but I think realistically, you did just see a great performance from Nick Harris. He had some really good down the field blocking. He has some good pulls.
Yeah, he pulls really well. I think they got creative with him, and I think Stefanski kind of utilized him in his best ability. And I'm glad he played well, because I was getting nervous if he came in and didn't play very well, that if we were, which I think this is low probability, but I think it's still on the table. If we're like 14 through 16, I think if Tyler Lindenbaum is there from Iowa, the center, I think Andrew Berry might look at him, because he's apparently a generational talent. He's like the best center prospect to come out of the draft like in the last decade. I'm pretty certain, but Nick Harris looks good. And I was telling people, and of course we got family over for Christmas, and I look like an instant clown because I'm telling people Nick Harris is short. I like how short he is, because I think Baker could see over him. And then he throws like 3 picks in the first half, and I was like, well, but I don't think he could see over.
Think that's on Nick Harris.
No, but I was like Nick Harris is a shorter guy. Like, I think Baker might be able to see over the middle of the field better, and then he just couldn't throw the ball over the middle of the field.
I like how we've talked. I think me and you have talked about Joe Bitonio, how he doesn't look like a left tackle. He looks like a left guard because he's short and stocky.
He looks fine out there to me, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if his arms are like long enough to be a left tackle,
but he's playing better than Jedrick Wills.
Jedrick Wills is, I'm telling you, Jedrick Wills in the trade package.
So why don't we, Jeff, why don't we just send him back to right tackle where he had played his whole college career?
That's what they're going to think about.
I think that's a great situation.
Keep Dunn at left guard. What's Dunn contracts looking like? I couldn't even.
Or maybe we have. I think now with Joel being able to do what he's done, which has been phenomenal. I think the idea of moving guys to a guard position who, are stronger there than, what we have at left tackle and right tackle as of right now could be a phenomenal idea. I think Jedrick needs a change of scenery. I feel like that left side gets a little bit more competition in terms of who you're going up against. I know with the Steelers, though, TJ likes to line up on the right tackle a lot. So if we got him back for this game, don't know. I mean, he might feel comfortable there, though, considering he played that his whole college career, but now has spent a year and a half playing left tackle.
Maybe he gets out and like riding like a bike. Maybe he could figure it out like in a week of practice, but I just don't know. I guess they didn't think Hudson was ready conditioning wise or something to play Hance. I mean, I know it's not that big of a drop off, but Hudson, that one game that they're like, he's probably going to be the starter. He played very well. It's looking to me that Michael Dunn is up after this year.
Yeah, he was.
He might get paid by somebody else. You know who caught a touchdown 2 weeks ago? And I was like, oh my gosh, Kendall Lamb.
Oh, really?
On Tennessee. And I was like, Kendall Lamb would probably be really good on it. Like we literally lost Kendall Lamb because we just have that many competent linemen and Chris Hubbard's hurt.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying yesterday in the live stream, which if you haven't checked that out, check that out on the channel. But like, I think you could package an offensive lineman with somebody.
It's been so crazy because you look at how we talk about guys stepping up. The offensive line has been like the one side of the ball where guys have just done everything possible for us.
And I think they played better last year.
It's crazy. Obviously, I don't think we had injuries really last year. And
Conklin played the whole year. Conklin really is just that good, I guess.
Right. But you look at the rest of the roster and you have some areas where guys step up and some don't. Obviously, you can't really take last game with guys lining up against Devontae Adams for corner. But you look at Greedy Williams, who had an interception, not this past game, but 2 weeks ago. He's played well enough and he's stepped up.
For someone who might not even have played this year, like 50-50, it seemed like.
Right. But getting guys like Greg Newsome and Troy Hill back, like you said, would be phenomenal for these last two games. Getting Jadeveon Clowney, especially with Tack going down for the year. Porter Gustin needs to be on the roster. Why?
I told you every time Porter Gustin's out there, he picks up the football. It just like falls to him. I don't understand. Like I don't think he's great at the run defense side of it, which Clowney I think has helped a lot in, but I just don't think he could set edges. He over pursues a lot, but he's pretty good off the edge. I think that he tries like 110% on every play.
Yeah. Well, when you're a practice squad and fighting for those kind of contracts and everything, he really has to. He kind of reminds me of Carl Nassib, but maybe not as talented, but definitely has the same kind of energy. And I really want to get to Javian Black because he plays at D tackle position sometimes with Tack in, and I'd like to see that with Porter Gustin.
Could work
in a way that we do pass rushing, because last week, Jeff, we weren't getting to Aaron Rodgers. No matter what we did, we weren't getting to Aaron Rodgers. He was just stepping
up, and he just makes it look so easy, though. I mean, he knew what our defense was doing the whole game, and we still only held him to 24 points. But Clowney, that's what I'm saying. Clowney's going to be rested for this game, and he should play.
A lot of guys are going to be rested.
That's big. Their offensive line doesn't look very good, and this is a type of offense where I would love to send Troy Hill off the edge and do whatever he does, jump up in the air to try to block the pass or go after Big Ben, because we know, like, I was seeing Kansas City send guys yesterday, and he doesn't know what to do with the football anymore. I mean, he can't move, which is a part of it, but
unfortunately for Big Ben, he hasn't had the twilight years that he probably would have expected, or play anything like Aaron Rodgers does, where he does move around the pocket very well. So being able to get some of those guys back for us defensively would be huge for this game, especially with just how stinking well we've been playing defensively. I mean, credit to
need turnovers this week.
Yeah, something that we definitely touched on in our live yesterday was turnovers not being a big thing. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers only turning the ball over 4 times in the past 400 plus attempts throwing the ball. He's fantastic, but Ben Roethlisberger not as talented as him. Offensively for them, Jeff, what are you most worried about? Because for me, you talked about Najee Harris not being able to get things going for them last night, but I don't know. He does worry me a bit coming up against us. I feel like we haven't been too fantastic, but I don't know. What's offensively scaring you about the Steelers?
Honestly, I just don't know how we couldn't stop Najee Harris the first time. And that's my biggest concern because I think their wide receivers didn't perform outstanding against us. Deontay Johnson had a pretty good game. I think he had 98 yards, but it's like just get Denzel on him or whoever, either way, Denzel on Claypool or Denzel on Deontay Johnson. It all works for me. And then it's just getting our guys back to combat them and make sure that they don't have big chunk plays,
right,
which I actually think we did a pretty good job against Green Bay, which I was nervous about. Obviously, Marquez Valdez-Scantling didn't play for them, but Alan Lazard's deep threat liable, and they got some vertical threats on Pittsburgh. If Big Ben can get the ball out, if their offensive line can block, and I'm just worried that if their offensive line plays a good game, we might be in trouble, which they didn't play yesterday. And you see when their offensive line doesn't play well, they cannot succeed.
Yeah. Well, my biggest thing is I feel like defensively, I have very little to worry about because that was within the 8-week period that we had talked about where we probably have a struggling defense for a little bit, trying to find our identity.
Yes.
Obviously, we're missing guys in the backfield, John Johnson, Ronnie Harrison, who I think Ronnie Harrison is probably a better run stopper than he is a coverage guy, which I feel like is the very opposite of what we have in playing right now. But I lean more towards being, optimistic about this game. I think there's a good chance that we win this game as long as offensively we can do exactly what we did against Green Bay, except the turnovers.
I just think it's a simple game plan against them. If you will look at who they've played, the only thing that makes me nervous is that it's prime time Monday night football. Mike Tomlin has been very good in prime time in his career. Big Ben has been very good in prime time in his career. And it's at Heinz Field, of course. That's why winning the one at First Energy is so big. And it was so annoying that we dropped that game being a 5-point loss. But it's to beat them these past couple of weeks, teams just get out to it takes them the whole first half to get started. It takes them so long for their offense to get in the swing of it. And it was 23-0 yesterday, before anything even happened, before they could even move the ball. So if you get out to a big lead on them, I think they're a resilient second half team. They've shown, in that Minnesota game to be able to come back and almost steal some games. So they're never out of it, which makes me nervous, especially because we've seen games where we've been ahead and then whatever happens, it's a turnover, fumble, interception, somebody drops a punt, it's kind of gets away from us quickly, which is something that could happen against the Steelers team.
Yeah, I'm wondering now, because I'm just thinking of COVID list guys, are we going to get Chase McLaughlin back? And if we don't, are you okay with Nager kicking PATs and field goals?
I guess you got to let him kick the first PAT, but I wouldn't mind going for truthfully, the kicking situation is probably less of an issue than people make it out to be, just because if it's a fourth down, we'll just go for it.
Right.
Who cares? And then we'll complain about the play calling after, which is totally fine. But it's
or the execution of the play.
Is Chase McLaughlin? Do you want Chase McLaughlin out there for a 50-yarder?
It's so
not.
unfortunate.
Do you want Chris Nager out there for a 50-yarder? Probably not.
I feel like we could go back into the earlier parts of the season and listen to our recordings back, and I feel like we were giving Chase McLaughlin a whole lot of praise. I think
he made his first 20.
Right. I think we were even saying things like, isn't it great to not have a kicking problem? So
for a small period of time.
For a small period of time, we haven't had that since, Phil Dawson was here. So we've drafted kickers, we picked up kickers, but we still haven't found that one piece. This game obviously is huge. Like you said, it being on Monday could either be a really good thing or a really bad thing. You could either get all the situational things that you need to happen, and guys are very motivated. You see guys on Twitter right now they saw all the situational things that need to happen.
Yeah, they're we're still in it.
Yeah, we're still in it. We believe. But what happens if the things that we need to happen don't? What do you see out of players?
That is true. Yeah, that's a good point. Didn't even think about that. The lack of trying could be an issue if, Kansas City somehow loses or if Los Angeles somehow loses. But I'm glad because those two teams, it's not like Kansas City or the Rams can be sitting people for
Right.
all I'm concerned, because they're still Tennessee could win and Kansas City could lose. And then the first seed's up in the air. Same way with the Rams. If the Rams win and Green Bay drops a game, like the first seed isn't locked up yet, which is helping out in our favor.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a good point. It seems like everything's primed and ready for the Cincinnati and the Ravens to lose.
Mhm.
And we're the third week in a row where it's the most monumental stakes. The Raiders game, of course, was all the pressure in the world. And then, our COVID issues happened and we couldn't win that game. And then Saturday, it's like, well, if we win this and then Cincinnati beats Baltimore and Pittsburgh loses, we would, be in the driver's seat basically. Right. And we can't win. And then the other two things happen. So when we've had pressure on us to compete in games, it just hasn't worked.
Yeah, it's been so unfortunate. And as much as I want to have the hope that, Baltimore for some reason will keep Lamar out, I doubt that, they're sitting there thinking, hey, we just got blown out by Cincinnati. We've lost 2 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar has got to play this game. It's no matter like, it's kind of the Miles situation where he's like, you're gonna have to, like, I don't know. What did he say? Did he say you'd have to like kill him in order for him to miss these games or something? Crazy. He said something like absolutely crazy. And I think Lamar was close this week to being able to play, but
and then Huntley went on the list and that was just unlucky.
Right. But I think you'll see a Lamar Jackson play. However, I don't think he's played phenomenally in the latter half of this year. So hopefully you see the Rams pick up a win. And then who are the Bengals playing? The Bengals are playing the Chiefs
in Cincinnati against Kansas City.
Travis Kelce missed this game with COVID issues. Tyreek Hill came back. Mm-hmm. So Travis Kelce is going to be healthy. And let's be honest, if there's any offensive team out there that can, keep pace with what Cincinnati has going.
Defense is playing so well too.
Right. We realistically could be sitting on, maybe we'll do a Sunday night live where after we've watched
probably have to.
Right. After we've watched the Baltimore and Cincinnati games, we'll have a clearer picture of what this Monday night game means. However, as we are right now with no injury reports or nothing that we know of, it is Monday morning. Make sure you guys are subscribing, hitting the bell notification, leaving a like and leaving a comment. It all helps us out. It's very early Monday. Jeff, what is your thoughts / predictions for this game?
Well, going back to what we need help with, the Ravens secondary is destroyed. So Lamar playing or not, I kind of agree with you that Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Matt Stafford should, they're missing literally everyone in their secondary. I think the Rams beating the Ravens is more plausible right now, pre-COVID list and everything. I'm hoping that the Cincinnati game's a good game, which is trending toward being that way. But I really do think it's plausible. Rams win, Kansas City wins, and us with 8 losses somehow, if we could win on Monday Night Football, we'll be in the driver's seat, and the game at home against Cincinnati would be for the division. I think that's how it shakes out.
It would almost be identical to last year, how last year ended, where the last game of the season for the Cleveland Browns is your playoff game.
Yeah,
always. It's quite literally your playoff game. And it's the playoff game for Cincinnati if everything works out too. Because if they win, they win the AFC North.
Because the wild card is.
Yep. But if we win, we win the AFC North. How crazy. We're going to be.
A home game.
We could be 9-8 and somehow win the AFC North, have a home game in the playoffs. It's just absurd to think about. And Jeff, you and I talked all before the season had started. What was our, I don't know the exact wording, but I believe it was something like, if we don't make it to the AFC championship game this season, is a disappointment. Yeah. And we're either, a game away from it being a complete and utter disappointment, or we're somehow still going and still having the conversation of, well, hey, we made it to the AFC championship game or just the playoffs. So we're really in a super unique situation compared to last year, where we're definitely playing under what we thought we would, yet we still have a chance.
That's crazy. We still have a chance. And I think that somehow I'm going to say that we win somehow, because I just don't see all of these things working against. I just don't see the lightning striking 3 times. I think I think you just have to split with divisional opponents just for, regardless of the situation, just for, posterity, just for the organization. We cannot get swept by the Steelers team.
Right.
They're not as good as they were last year. They're really not. I don't think it's got to be the perfect storm for us. It's Monday Night Football. Baker is, if
the chips are down,
if his career continues along this trajectory, he's going to play good after he plays horrible. I would hope. So we just had 4 interceptions. I'm hoping for a turnaround game there. Kevin Stefanski has not lost 3 straight games now. So I think that's that's in jeopardy as well for dropping 3 in a row. I'm hoping Kareem's back.
Yep.
I'm hoping Troy Hill, Greg Newsome, John Johnson, all back. Jadeveon, all back, rested. And I just don't know. I mean, who knows? Pittsburgh really has been hit with a lot of COVID issues that I know of. That could be on the table for them. I think hopefully we're over the hill with that. I'm going to say we win, and I'm going to say the game of first energy is for the division. If everything goes well. Score, close one on Monday Night Football. AFC North game, probably going to be, I'm hoping for bad weather, but I'm always hoping for bad weather. I'll say 21-20. Browns.
All right. I think for this game, and I'm going to go back to the point that you made about us winning for last game, is the quarterback battle. I think it's going to be down to who plays better, Baker Mayfield or Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger in the game against us last time has a touchdown. Baker Mayfield, no touchdowns. Listen, if that's the game and you just swap it, I'm completely fine with it. I'm fine with taking the 15-10 victory. However, like you said, Baker Mayfield played an awful, that might have been very close to one of, if not his worst game he's ever played. I think
maybe with life.
Of all the time he'll have, he's got an extended week of preparation. He came off of COVID and played that game, so he didn't have any practice, whatever.
Yeah,
a lot of guys,
that would be nice.
Yeah, a lot of guys coming back, being able to practice, being able to get reps together again. We kind of take that for granted. You hear about Aaron Rodgers not really needing those reps. He's in his 10 plus season. He doesn't need that. However, we've seen that our guys really need that. So I'm going to say with a full week of preparation, guys coming back, guys being rested, I'm going to say Cleveland Browns win 30-24.
30. That would be a lot. I think it's plausible that we win. I don't know how we're in this situation. I can't believe that we still have a chance, but I really do think that it's division because the wild card, especially with the game going on tonight, Tennessee, the Chargers are still in it. The Raiders are somehow probably going to make the playoffs. And we just have no tiebreakers. We have no tiebreaker with the Raiders. We have no tiebreaker with the Chargers. We would have a tiebreaker with Denver, but they're not looking like they're going to be able to get it done down the stretch. Maybe I'm wrong, but AFC, probably the most competitive season of the AFC since we've been alive.
Maybe the NFL in general, even the NFC is kind of in a little bit of shambles right now. The Cardinals are currently falling off. So a lot to be seen and a lot to be desired in the next week. We'll try to keep you guys updated. But Jeff, anything else before we call this one quits?
Nope.
All right. With that being said, everyone, make sure you are subscribing, hitting the bell notification. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming out, obviously Cavs stuff, Brown stuff, and Guardians fans. We will have stuff in the future at some point. But with that being said, thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.